Today we are once again working on Melania's embroidery. I did do work on a thing this week that I'm very happy about. So, I think I mentioned this maybe a week or two ago, maybe last week. So, 2 years ago, I had been asked by a friend to alter their mother's wedding dress. And I agreed to do it, and I made a video. Like, I filmed everything. I didn't make the video, but I filmed all of it. It happened actually right before I started working on Strawberry Miku. So it was right before Strawberry Miku. The project I worked on, well, I guess Bucket too. So I guess it was right before Bucket. But nobody remembers Bucket. But the summer that I started, the spring before the summer that I made Strawberry Miku, I worked on a wedding dress commission, which was a very strange experience. And I filmed all of it, like I was gonna make a YouTube video about it, but then, obviously, she was getting married in November that year, and so I wasn't gonna put the video out until after she got married, but by November, I was so still in the weeds with working on Strawberry Miku and doing, the whole performance for Hallmat that it didn't get done then. And then it was always a thing that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that next. I'm gonna do that next. And then I just never did it. I just always had another cosplay that I wanted to be working on. And I just never edited this video. And so for 2 years, I have had all of this footage, including I had this girl's mom come to my apartment for the final fitting so that I could film her mom's reaction to seeing this dress. And I have all this footage, and I've just never edited it. I have this great story that I've been sitting on for 2 years. But now, to put everybody on the same page, because I think I've talked about this, I don't have any plans to make anything again until, maybe November, because there is one cosplay that's kind of small. Like, I have a small project I would like to do before Hallmat so that I have a new cosplay to wear to Hallmat. And so I was like, you know what? I finally have the time. I'm not obsessing over some other cosplay right now. I can do this. And so I went through and I looked at all the footage that I had, and I filmed it it was a making video, right? Like, it is a making video. Like, I'm making a wedding dress. But this was at a strange point where I did not yet have the nice audio recorder that I have now. It was at a point where I didn't have this thing yet. This great, amazing thing. This is a Zoom H6, by the way. This was a Christmas present from Joe. But I had this USB mic, the one I'm using right now, to talk to you. And I had been, I think since, the strawberry dress video, I had been using this USB mic as the main mic for the channel, but it was also right after I got a new phone. So I had previously had an iPhone 7, and this was 2022, and I ended up that's when I got my phone that I have now, which is a iPhone 13, I think the big one. And I was so hype about the new camera on the iPhone I had, because at the time, the only camera I had was this one back here, my 10-year-old Canon camera. But now I had this cell phone, and the audio out of that camera is really bad. Cause it's, I guess at this point it's like a 13-year-old camera. And it can do 1080p video at 30 frames a second, but it couldn't do 60 frames a second, and the iPhone 13 can. And so I was so hype about this, and I learned that there was a way that I could plug this USB mic into my iPhone 13, right? Through one of those, it's like a USB to lightning cable converter. And during the time that I was working on this wedding dress, I started plugging the USB mic into my phone so that the phone audio would be like really good, right? And I learned pretty quickly that the no, it does not work good, and that no, you should keep the USB mic plugged into the computer. Because what ended up happening is the audio, like, it recorded in better quality audio, but then, like, every 5 to 10 seconds, there would be, like, the audio would just, like, pause for a second. Like, the audio would totally dip, totally down, and you wouldn't have any audio for just, like, a split second, but you could hear it, because, like, the room noise is not happening, and it would, like, it wasn't like it was an inaudible click. And so all of the, like 99% of the audio for this wedding dress video is crap. There are a couple really important things that I did actually, like, by the end, by the time I had her mom come and, like, see the dress, I did, like, plug the USB mic into my laptop and used it the correct way for, like, that final look. So I have good audio of, like, some stuff, but all of the parts where I'm making stuff, that audio is just either gone, like, I lost some of it, because the way I used to do this was I would record it on my old laptop, and then here's the big secret that don't tell anybody. I used to edit my videos on my work laptop because it was a better MacBook Pro. It was a newer one, and it was much faster than my actual MacBook Pro. I ended up eventually buying the computer that I have now, but when YouTube, like, started, I was using my work laptop, but, like, keeping all of the files on an external drive. So, like, even if my manager, like, completely scanned my work laptop, he would find absolutely nothing. But I wasn't supposed to be doing that. But it's also, like, it's not like I was doing it while I was at work, right? It was the after hours use my computer kind of thing. Anyway, but my work laptop was, like, it was really weird about where, like, it was all locked down with, like, security stuff. And for some reason, the only way, oh, and my old laptop, you're telling, you don't even, I think Alyssa actually does know where I used to work. Just don't tell anybody where I used to work, Alyssa. I don't know if you even remember where I was working when I quit. But, okay, so, but that laptop, there were two, so basically this is all to say how I lost this footage. Like, I lost the audio. What I would do is the audio would get recorded on the laptop that I owned, and then I would have to Google Drive it to myself. And sometimes I would forget to Google Drive the audio recording that I had on the laptop. And at some point, I completely reformatted that laptop without checking to see if I had all the audio files for this thing, because I wasn't thinking about it, because it had been months since this happened. And some of them are just gone. But it's fine, because I have changed the way this video will be structured. It will not be a traditional making video. It is more the story of how this happened and what went wrong. So what I have done was I basically, and this was also a reason why I never did this, because the way I edit my making videos now is when I get done filming that day, I go ahead and I edit everything I got that day. Because if I don't, because I'm working with multiple cameras, it gets way too confusing to know which files go with what. Because I have 3 different camera files and audio files, and if I don't remember all the weird that I did, then I don't know where any of this goes. Anyway, so the wedding dress video. I've basically scripted the whole thing, and what I had to do was go through, find all of this footage, because also a bunch of the footage was on my iPhone, And so I had to go, like, find it in my iCloud. Thank God for iCloud, or a lot of this would just be gone. I did have a lot of stuff, like, saved in my regular file structure. And so a lot of it was there, but it was all, like, out of order and weird. And so I had to go through and figure out what I had, what I could even talk about, what even was pertinent, what live footage of, like, me talking was even still there, and try to, like, piece together what I need to write as a script to bring this all into a bow and not make it seem really weird that I'm in a totally different place in this video, you know? And so what it's come down to is basically the entire video is scripted, because there's only, like, I think right now in the edit I have maybe 2 5 to 10 second clips of me talking, like, live in the moment about what I have done with this thing, and everything else is me recording it now in 2024. Which I think is good, because also, I don't know the last time anybody, like, went back and watched any of my, like, really old videos from, like, well, I guess not, yeah, they're pretty old at this point. Like, this was 2 years ago. And, like, watching this old footage of me explain, I talked, like, totally different. Like, I was not comfortable in front of the camera yet, and I speak in such a, but also the hearing it in the audio is really weird, because some of the audio is, like, bad. But yeah, it's like, this bitch is a totally different person that is still not comfortable on camera. So I have had to replace basically all of my past self's things that I had to say about this wedding dress being made. Okay, this is some of the best life advice I've ever gotten, and I want to tell y'all this because I just thoroughly relied on this advice yesterday, because I went to my friend's birthday party yesterday, and there were, like, I knew her, obviously, and then I knew, like, 2 other people there, and there were a bunch of people there that I did not know, and it was like, well, time to stretch these talking to strangers muscles. And I want to preface this by saying I used to be so bad at talking to strangers. Like, around my friends, I never found it hard to be myself, but, like, trying to be myself in front of strangers was always so hard. I always felt like I was so awkward that I would just, like, not talk, and, you know, the person that goes and finds the cat because they're uncomfortable and there's too many people was that. But I did so good at this party. I talked to so many new people that I had not met. But this is how you do this. This is the best advice I have ever gotten for talking to people. And it just relies on this fact of life that people love to talk about themselves. And so all you have to do to get people to, like, have a conversation with you and you not feel really awkward is to just ask people questions about themselves and come up with follow-up questions and just ask them a bunch of questions about themselves and their life and let them talk about themselves. And then there's a whole conversation and you didn't even have to come up with anything to talk about. You just let them talk about themselves. And they will probably like you because people love to talk about themselves. But I was at the party and there was this couple there, and they were a queer couple, and I'm, of course, the person that's like, I'm gonna talk to the queer people. And they turned out to be phlebotomists, which is, like, the people that, like, take your blood. So I was like, you know what? I don't know about that. Y'all tell me everything about phlebotomy. And it was very interesting, and it was a great conversation. And I didn't have to come up with anything besides asking a bunch of questions about phlebotomy. And I am so proud that as somebody that was like really bad at doing stuff like that and still struggles with like, you know, social anxiety and stuff, that I have come that far and that I can do stuff like that. But I wanted to share that advice with y'all, that if you don't know how to talk to strangers, just ask them questions about themselves and let them talk about themselves and just listen to them. You'll learn cool stuff like about phlebotomy and veins and blood. Solar Flare says, that's really smart. I tend to overthink what I'm gonna say and then miss a spot in conversations to say anything. Yeah, no. You know, the funny thing is the only... the amazingly silly funny thing is that when I was like my most awkward in my like, well, I was very, well, I'm just gonna say awkward because it's just a good way to explain it, is you're just like, you don't know what to say, people are talking to you and it's giving you anxiety and you don't know how to reply. But the funny thing is if you are talking to somebody that has that anxiety about speaking to people and you start doing the questions thing, then they will probably get really uncomfortable and give you like one-word answers, because that's what I used to do. I used to just, if people would ask me questions about me and they were a stranger, I was so guarded that I would just like, it was just like one-word answers. Please stop talking to me. I don't want to talk to you at all. Oh my God, stop talking to me. But, so the only people that doesn't work on are those people. And when you get a person like that, you kind of just got to give them grace and be like, they'll be better at this one day. We're just going to be super nice to them and make sure they're comfortable. And if they don't want to talk, then they don't have to talk. And I'm going to make sure they know where the cat is, because the cat will make them happy. But, like, you can usually tell when, like, somebody just doesn't want to talk to you. And I never assume that means that they don't like me. I assume it means that they just don't want to talk. And that's always okay. What was so funny, though, was oh my God. Can I just complain about my journey to go to this birthday party yesterday? Because it was awful. It was a fun party. It was a good party. Made new friends. But oh my God. Okay, this party was supposed to be an hour away from me, right? But, God, Atlanta traffic sure decided to shit the bed. When I left, it was like, it'll take you an hour and 5 minutes to get there. I left at 1 o'clock and I got there at 3. Because one of the Atlanta highways, which was clear when I left, by the time I got there, there was 30 minutes of like parked traffic on the highway. And so I was in start-stop traffic for 30 minutes. It was awful. And it was only supposed to be an hour drive, and it took me 2 hours. It was so bad. Atlanta traffic is honestly the worst. Last time I went to the airport, I had to leave 4.5 hours before my flight to beat the morning rush. Oof! Yeah. Atlanta. Like, there's certain times of the day where it's not that bad and you can just go right around the highway. But I guess I just picked a really bad time on a Saturday because that highway was insane. And then, okay, I gotta go back to complaining about this drive. So the way there, start and stop traffic. Awful, terrible, very annoyed. Took forever, had to pee so bad by the time I got there. And so on the way back, I was like, it can't possibly be that bad on the way back. And then my phone goes, severe thunderstorm warning ahead. And it was not kidding. That turned into like one of the scariest drives of my life, because it was dark and it was raining really, really, really bad. Felt like I was in a high storm. Shout out to anybody that's read the Stormlight Archives. Yeah, so the way home ended up being like driving 30 to 40 miles an hour on the highway, going real slow because it's raining so bad that I couldn't see anything. The visibility was nothing. And tip for whenever you are in the car and your visibility is like totally gone, what you do is you watch the white lines on the road. You just look down at the white lines because it's the only thing you can see. And bonus, if there's reflectors on the road, just watch the reflectors in the white lines because you can almost always see them even in like terrible visibility. That's what they're there for. That's what I did. That's the best car advice I've ever gotten, is when you can't see, watch the white lines and you'll be fine. But I did that. And also, okay, other thing, quick survey. True or false? Or rather, okay, I'm just gonna ask this question. When it is raining so bad that the visibility is really bad, is it safer to turn your hazards on or not turn your hazards on? Which one is safer? Because I was told that you are not supposed to turn your hazards on because it means that you can't signal if you're going left and right. And like, yeah, you shouldn't be going left or right when it's raining that bad and you're going down the highway. But it's also more distracting, and you should only do it if your like brake lights don't work. But I was on the highway in the really bad rain, and like almost everybody had their hazards on. And I was like, you're not supposed to do that. Not high beams, your hazards. Rizu says technically driving with hazards on is illegal. Somebody says not. Solar Flare says it depends. Joe said, because I brought this up when I came home. Oh, I finished this piece. Yay. I have to get a different needle. Joe said that when he took, like, the driver's ed class, that he learned in driver's ed that you're supposed to do that. And I don't know if that was a thing that Joe, like, learned a long time ago and is not as an acceptable thing anymore. If that's something one of his parents told him to do. But I Googled it, and Google says that you're not supposed to do it because you're only supposed to use your hazards if it's an emergency. Thanks for watching this year-old Patreon stream re-upload. If you want to see the Patreon streams actually live or in full, then you can check out my Patreon because you can get access for just $1 a month. And a big thank you to Mel, or Pocket Leaves, who's editing these streams down for me so I can focus on my main channel videos. You can check out Mel's work on either their channel Pocket Leaves or Pocket Cons, and sometimes you'll even see me in their con vlogs. It's a special occurrence when it happens. But as always, if you're just watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, then you're supporting this channel too. So thank you. Bye!